Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Sarah and today we're going to be doing a 10-minute Pilates at home workout, and it's going to be a quick abs burn focus. So we will be touching on other muscle groups of course, but that will be the main focus. You're not going to be needing any equipment, just yourself and a mat, and of course plenty of room to move around freely. We're going to be starting in a seated position, so whenever you're ready, let's begin. Okay, so ideally with your legs crossed, let's rest the hands on the knees and sit up tall. Take a lovely big breath in, exhale to engage the core, and then you're just going to lean forward, hinging at the hips, and then circle around to the right. As you go backwards, just draw the navel in towards the spine, make full circles. You're going to do 3 in each direction, but go nice and slowly, keeping the pelvis nice and still so both sets of sit bones stay in contact with the ground. So here we're warming up at the hip joints, but we're just doing a little bit of flexion and extension of the spine. Just get things nice and warmed up before we start the main workout. Keep those shoulders relaxed and down as well. Brilliant. And then we're going to come back to tall seated. Pop your hands now behind your head. Just interlace your fingers. Let your elbows just be in your peripheral vision. Thoracic twists. We exhale as we turn to the left. And then exhale to turn to the right. So you take a nice breath in as you pass through center. We don't need to turn too far. It's just a little bit of rotation of the spine we're looking for. Lovely. We're going to turn this into side bends now. So if you just keep your hands where they are, and all you're going to do is just gently tilt to either side. Again, keeping the navel towards the spine, just lifting the elbow up towards the ceiling. Feeling that stretch around the outside of the body. And again, keeping the pelvis really still so you don't lift either of your glutes or hips. Pop your hands behind your back, shoulders back and down. Just raise the arms up as you lift your breastbone and gently look up towards the ceiling. Just relax it there. And again, we're just going to do a couple of those, stretching out the chest and into the shoulders. Lovely, you can relax that then. Perfect. Now, we're just going to turn to one side on the mat. Have the feet down, knees and feet hip width apart. Sit tall, shoulders above the hips. And then just take hold of the back of your knees. Your knees and feet should be hip width apart. Now, you're just going to take a breath in here. As we exhale, draw the navel towards the spine. You lower the rib cage as you lean back with the shoulders, nodding the chin slightly. So we've still got hold of the back of the legs. Then we come forward and sit up tall. We're going to do that a couple more times. So breathing in, exhale, engage the core, leaning back nice and slowly and controlled. Bringing the shoulders back above the hips before we sit up tall. We're going one more time, drawing the navel in, but also up towards the rib cage. Good, and then back to seated tall. Okay, this time we're going to take the hands away, arms level with the floor. Let's breathe in, exhale, tummy button in and up, gently off the sit bones, and then start to lean back. We don't need to lean back too far, just make sure you're drawing those lower abs in towards the spine, and then you're going to just start to take out your left arm, bring it forward, then the right. Good. Keep your body absolutely still. If there's any pulling in the lower back, of course, just come up a bit more with the chest. Keep your feet down. Good. Now, we're going to be doing this again, but bringing the legs in. So just hold it all there. When you take your left arm out, lift the right foot up, and vice versa. So alternating sides, opposite arms and legs. Keep those lower abs tucked towards the spine. So we've got a lovely C shape, but we're really using those abdominal muscles to control the position and hold us in place. This really gets your hip flexors as well. Lovely. Good. Let's come up, bring the shoulders back above the hips, reach up, breathe in. Lovely stuff, and bring those arms back down to being parallel with the floor. Lengthen out the legs, and we're going to roll down now into supine. So breathe in. Exhale to engage, gently and slowly roll down with the arms overhead. Give your ankles a quick flex to stretch out the back of the legs. And then we're going to point the toes again. Okay, let's get into those abs a bit more. Let's breathe in. Exhale to engage the core and lift the arms up as well as the head and shoulders. So you're reaching towards the wall in front of you. You keep a gap between the chin and the chest. We're just coming up with the head and shoulders, drawing the lower abs towards the spine. We're going to bring the legs in now. So as you do that again, raise the left leg up and then go back. Same with the right leg. So you're reaching towards the knee. Either arm goes on each side of the knee. Good. Never pull the lower back, just go slowly and controlled. Getting into the hip flexors now. Now you can keep going with this movement, but there is a slight progression if you want it as well. So we can reach up a little bit higher towards the ankle, but the technique is slightly different. So you still lift the head and shoulders as I'm doing here, but we need to lift the breastbone up as well towards the ceiling. So you're reaching your hands towards your toes. Good. Really use your core here. It's a lot more intense around those abdominal muscles. Fabulous. Try and keep the legs lengthened. You'll feel it working your quadriceps as well as the hip flexors that we're getting into. Brilliant. Exhale up, inhale, down. We're going to do the rollover next. Now this is quite challenging. So you're going to bring your arms down by your sides. Just widen them out slightly, palms facing down. Keep the knees and feet hip width apart. Take a breath in. As you exhale, press the lower back down as you lift your feet up and try and press the floor away from you as you take the legs overhead. Part the feet to about shoulder width and see if you can touch the floor with your toes. Now we need to slowly and carefully roll down through the spine and bring our feet back to that start position. So again, pushing into the floor, press the lower back down to raise the legs up and over. Part the feet. As we come down, slowly using the strength of the shoulders, press the lower back towards the floor and the legs come back together at the end. Last one, try and get the legs parallel with the floor as you go over the body. And then slowly and carefully come down using the core strength to control the movement as well as the arms and shoulders. Good, well done. Okay. Let's pop the feet onto the floor then. Knees and feet hip width apart, so legs in a crook position. We're going to do the 100. So let's lift the head and shoulders, look towards the knees, float the arms a couple of inches off the floor with the palms facing down. We start to pulse the arms, breathing in for 5 counts and out for 5 counts. That's 1 repetition. We do it 10 times. That's the 100. Try and keep your head and shoulders still. You can keep your feet down or you can raise the legs into tabletop just like this, knees above the hips, shins level with the floor. Or if you want to make it even more challenging, you can lengthen out the legs diagonally. Okay, so just remember to press the lower back down towards the floor to keep the abs nice and tight. And the lower you get your legs, the more you're really going to challenge your abdominal muscles. Do try and keep your head and shoulders nice and still. I'm nodding a little bit there, naughty me. This is meant to strengthen the neck flexors at the front of your neck as well, but if it's too much for you, you can put your head down, but do make sure that you have your feet elevated to activate your abdominals. So either legs in tabletop or just as I have here with legs diagonal. Okay, let's turn this into double leg stretch. Keep your head and shoulders lifted. Take the arms back. So you've got your arms next to your ears, legs diagonal. Let's press that lower back down towards the floor as we take the arms and legs away from each other. Good, exhale back, inhale in. Quite a challenging movement. Again, just really working those abdominals and the hip flexors. Lovely. One more. Now see if you can keep your head and shoulders lifted again. Raise the legs vertically, point the toes, place your hands behind your head, elbows in your peripheral vision. We're going to start to crisscross our ankles here. Now this really works your hips. It works the front of the thighs as well, but also you'll notice it really gets your abs too because you've got your head and shoulders lifted. So really working rectus abdomini, that's your 6-pack. Okay, let's keep the legs vertical. Relax the head, take your arms all the way back. And now you're going to lift the head and shoulders and reach through the knees as you part your feet. So widening out the legs. So now we're working the inner thighs, still working the abdominals. That's it, keep a nice gap between the chin and the chest. And never jerk the body up, it's a nice lift and lower. Good, feeling a bit heavy around those hips as well. So still working those hip flexors. Just hold it there, little pulses. A few more, breathe. Now just take hold of the back of the knees, relax your head for a moment, just give your neck a rest. We're going to be rolling up to seated next, so breathe in, exhale to roll up and try and balance on your sit bones. Take hold of your ankles on the outside, lift the breastbone, so really lengthen through the spine and try and lengthen out the legs so the feet are quite wide apart here. Relax your shoulders and then try and bring the feet towards each other and then part the legs again. So you're going from V shape, bringing them together. Good. Make sure you're trying to lengthen through the spine here. So again, lifting the breastbone up, taking that pressure off the lower back. It's really tough to balance. Okay, now this time you're going to flex your ankles as you bring the feet towards each other. Okay, so it really stretches out the back of the legs. You can point your toes to widen out the legs, flex the ankles to bring the legs back together. Good, try and keep nicely balanced. If you do need to relax, of course, it's fine. But do make sure that you don't feel pulling in the lower back. You can relax it down now. Good. Let's lengthen out the legs in front of us. Part the knees. We're going to sit up tall. Just shuffle your glutes behind you. Let's just stretch out those inner thighs. Nod the chin. Roll the shoulders forward. Slide the hands away as you hinge at the hips. Just don't force this though. Just feel a nice stretch around the inner thighs. Good stuff. And slowly roll up. Back to seated. Shoulders back above your hips. Lovely. We're going to come into all fours next. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Keep the knees hip width apart. Make sure you're lengthened through the spine. You've got nice soft elbows. Tummy button up towards the spine. So that's your core engaged. We're going to tuck the toes under and very gently lift the knees. So they're just floating a couple of centimetres off the floor. And as you can see here, I'm just reaching forward. One arm and then the other. Trying to float the knees close to the ground. That's it, but this really works your abs as well. It's very hard to balance because you've got to try not to tip from side to side. You've got to try and keep your spine as lengthened as you can, chest and pelvis parallel with the floor as best you can. Good, try not to come up any higher off the knees. All right, now let's bring the knees very gently down and release your toes. Just take a walk forward with each hand. Breathe in, and as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, start to lower the pelvis, lift your feet, cross your ankles, push the floor away from you, so you're shining your breastbone on the wall in front. Good. And then we're going to sit back in shell. Take the glutes all the way to the heels. Lovely. And again, breathing in, exhale, tuck your tailbone under, squeeze the glutes, lower the pelvis carefully, and back into shell. Now, any pinching or pain in the lower back, of course, you don't do this. We're just trying to stretch out the abdominals. We're going one more time. It's a really nice one for the lower back as well. Bit of extension after all that flexion work in the abs. And then very carefully bring yourselves down into prone. Good. All right, part the feet to about the corners of your mat. And then just have your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. And then very gently breathe in. Reach back with those arms. Good, just relax it down. We're going to go again. Make sure you're looking at the floor here and you've got your tummy button tucked towards the spine. You're going to raise each leg individually, pointing the toes, squeezing the glutes. So working the back of the legs, working the glutes. And again, we've got a little bit of spinal extension. That's it. Try not to kick the legs up. We're just lifting them very gently. Good, bit of a stretch for the chest, so a nice one for posture. You can pop your hands down on the floor, slowly and carefully come up to all fours, start to tuck your tailbone under and sit back on the heels to stretch out the lower back. As you can see, I'm swaying my hips very gently from side to side to just lengthen out those lower back muscles, and we'll roll ourselves up to kneeling. And that brings us to the end of the session. Nice and quick. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.